Okay, so your son can go to the blog, look at this video, and do your homework problems 1 through 18 on page 124. Now, most of you know how to solve a square root equation. Say if you had the square root of x equals 4, most of you would know to just square both sides. And this is the inverse of taking the square root by squaring it, and you end up with x equals 16. So that's really the principle of this entire homework lesson. So let's go to the first example. Here you're taking the cube root. You want to make sure that the radical is isolated. In other words, there's nothing being added or subtracted or multiplied or divided. This is isolated, so all I'm going to do now is take both sides to the third power. That eliminates the radical sign, and now we have 5 minus 11x, and then 3 to the third power, 27. Now I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, just like a normal linear equation now, and I end up with, let's go over here, negative 11x equals 22. I want to undo the multiplication of negative 11 times x by dividing negative 11 on both sides, of course, and I end up with x equals 2, negative 2. Now, we may have an extraneous solution. Whenever we solve radical equations, it's possible that we may come up with a solution that really doesn't exist. So it's really important to plug your answer back into the radical, and I'll do that now. I'll just do it this first time, though, and it's up to you to check your homework when you get to it. All right, so we know that this is going to equal 3. So I do all the operations in the radical to check my answer. Negative times a negative is positive, so I have 5 plus 22. This says take the cube root of 27, and it does indeed equal 3. So this worked out, and our solution is negative 2. Let's move on to the next example. All right, here this would be a radical. I need to isolate the radical by adding 2 to both sides. So once I do that, then I have x minus 1 to the third power square root, and that will all equal 8. Now I want to do the inverse, just like I took the inverse of the square root when I squared it. I want to do the inverse here. So that means we just turn the fraction upside down. Do the same thing to both sides. So now we have 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6, we end up with a fraction, 6 over 6, which is 2 to 1. So that means we have x minus 1 to the first power, or just x minus 1. Then I take the cube root of 8, which is 2, and then I square the 2, and I get 4. So now we have x minus 1 equals 4. All I have to do is add 1 to both sides, and we have x equals 5 is our solution to this particular equation. All right, final example. Now we're taking the fourth root, but we have to isolate once again. So I want to add 5 to both sides. We always do the opposite to both sides of the equation. I add 5 to negative 3, or 5 minus 3, and that's 2. So now all I have to do is the inverse of taking the fourth root. We'll take both sides to the fourth power, and I have x equals 16. Okay, so those are the 3 examples. You should be able to do the homework tonight, page 124, problems 1 through 18, and then we'll review those in class on Thursday.